Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 22 of How Hard Can It Be? I'm Phil Murphy and this semi-clean boat is a Nauticus 27 foot. Now between us we are battling on and we are going to get this baby on the water this year. But before I can do that I need to sort out the windows. Why do we need to sort out the windows? Because we need to get some cream paint on it in order to then put the fittings on the outside, and then we can start working on the inside again and getting the upper sections of the ply, etc. all done. So this episode is all going to be about the windows and maybe the odd bit of door making, etc. etc. So shall we get on with the episode? I think so. Workshop. You know why there's no workshop? Because the workshop is now over there. The reason for that is, of course, Miss Isle. Blue Miss Isle, in fact, is what the name of that speedboat is. As you know, we don't know anything about her at this stage. Fingers crossed that you're going to be able to help me in getting the information on that boat, but that boat cannot stay outside any longer than necessary. So all last week I have been clearing out space for that boat to fit in here. So when I'm not working, it's tucked up safely next to Miss Nauticus over here. But let's get on with the episode. So what have we got? I've pulled out all the windows, all aluminium, and actually I'm quite surprised. It's 4 years since I last saw these windows. And I'll be honest, they are in better condition than I actually thought they would be. Some of the internal rubbers that hold the glass in are in excellent condition. So I think I'm going to leave them as they are. So I'm going to concentrate on cleaning up the alloy. I'm going to keep them as they are. I'm just going to refresh them all. And then hopefully we can get these windows back into position after we've done I'm going to paint them first, but these really do need to go on. The only ones that I'm going to probably have more difficulty with are these. And this one has a sliding sash, not a sash, I don't know, what do they call those? Sliding? Anyway, it's a sliding bit of...
Sliding window.
Yeah, sliding window. I don't know what they're called actually. But anyway, that section there slides, and of course it's well jammed, so I need to find some sort of, I forgot what they call that as well, it's like a
felt.
Yeah, but it's felt and rubber to stop the water from ingressing, so I need to find anyway some parts for it on that side and that side. It's got natural drainage holes in here as well, which is useful because I was hoping that if there's any condensation it's going to drop down into something, and it drops down into this well here, which is a good thing. But all in all, I think these windows are pretty good to go. So I think with a good clean up and a buff up, we should have windows ready to be put on. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on this week. Shall we talk windows? Before we do talk windows, shall we have a little talk about the Blue Missile over there? Because it's important to keep you updated, and also the progress I'm making with the history on it. So, just put that down. Right. The Blue Missile. So far, history-wise, we know it's a 63 boat. I'm in a conversation with a nice chap called Mike over in America, and he is somebody that seems to do or specialise in mercury, and he has informed me that the serial numbers that I have given him in relation to some of the pictures that I've sent him suggests that the outdrive together with the engine, there was 100. I'm thinking I'm right in saying it's the outdrive in this particular instance, but Mercury produced 100 units of that particular type, which obviously makes it extremely rare, and maybe the reason why this boat hasn't seen the light of day for many a year, because it's difficult to find the parts. Now you might say, as well as I do, well, get rid of that, get rid of the engine and put something else in its place. But if you've noticed, it's quite a small boat for an inboard. It's quite light, and it's only got a small engine bay. So weight-wise is going to be crucial. So this 4-cylinder engine, together with what we've got on as an outdrive, obviously was the perfect match, and we're thinking it's the 120 horsepower model. They do a 140 and they went on from there. But from what Mike tells me, that as you progress to the next stage, which would then probably be a 3-litre engine, you're getting heavier, and it might be a case of it might not fit, might fit because they do a 3-litre 4-cylinder, but it might be a case of that the engine in combination with the outdrive may be too heavy for this boat being the size that it is. So as you can see, size wise, this 4-cylinder is quite a snug fit. You've also got this part here, which is associated with the the exterior, so it would be very tight to get anything bigger than what's already here. The engine number is there. I'm assuming that's the engine number anyway. I've written it, I've described what that is, and I am aware that it's a very early engine, but I've got a camera that I can have a look at the bores. I haven't got to that stage yet because I'm busy with the other boat, as you well know, but all the signs, engine oil wise, I mean, that is used, but smells good. It doesn't look like there's anything serious in there at this stage, which is a good thing. I haven't turned it over because I've not been able to get down to the crank to turn it over, which will be an important part of establishing whether this engine is seized or not. I'm hoping it's not, but looking down here and inside there, it looks pretty fresh. So I'm sort of guessing that that wasn't the issue, it was the exterior that was the issue. Fingers crossed that that is the case. I mean, it is going to be difficult to get this thing back on the water based on the information I've got from Mike. But this boat is too good to let go and just strip and send for parts. I just can't let that happen because it's so nice. Anyway,
and
that's not going to happen.
Starter motor issue as well.
Well, the starter motor is a crucial part of the problem. Is that it is missing, and apparently it is because this engine is such an early engine. I don't know whether I can move. That's the. Let's see. 80 horsepower. It's such an early engine that everything that's associated with it is of course early too, and if anything ever goes missing off it, of course it's I'm finding that it's difficult to replace. So and everything is allegedly based in America. So I'm like I say, I'm appealing on YouTube and to my fellow colleagues over the water, over the pond. Is that what it's called?
That's what they say.
Over the pond, to help me out on this one. I'm desperately in need of some help. In fact, I will call out the engine numbers for people watching, because somebody may be able to help me with parts, etc. You never know. So the numbers I can see, there is an M and a 4 together, which is quite large, and then in a diamond shape there's an R and an N, and then the numbers are 2, 5, 6, 4, 3, 9, 2, and then it has a dash, and then 8, 1. So that's 2, 5, 6, 4, 3, 9, 2, dash 8, 1. There is some numbers on the manifold, and I shall say what they are. There is one number that is 4, 5, 6, 5, 7, and then underneath that there is the letter E, then a dash, and then a number 47, then a dash, 23029. So those are the numbers that I can see at this stage without getting further into the engine. There may be another number somewhere else, but obviously I haven't pulled this engine. I think I might have to in order to give you more information, so then you can give me more feedback. So there you go, that's the situation. It's a small compact engine bay, and I think we're going to have to stick with what we've got. Or maybe you can, looking at it, you may say, well, no, you can squeeze a 3 litre in there. Or you might say, do you know what, keep it original. There are parts out there, and just fix it. So, you know, I'm open to suggestions, and I'm open to views of what you think. So we shall leave this boat for now until I have some more information for you. Let's get on with some work with the Nauticus. So my viewers, to try and give me some more information on what you think the name of this model was, because that is still unknown. Anyway, enough of her and more about her, the bigger one. And obviously we're on this episode, we're dealing with the windows. Now, this is probably the better of the two, and I've found that with a little bit of lubrication, etc., this window has come back to life. It's not missing any parts, and to be honest, these window seals here are in very good condition, so I'm inclined to leave them well alone. The only bit that isn't very good is this section here. So I will go again on the internet and see whether this is something that I can replace. It is a part that could easily slot in. If not, then I may have to come up with another idea of using some form of rubber as like a squeegee effect. As you open and shut this, that acts as a draft excluder as well as keeping out the elements. So this is what I'm going to start with cleaning up. Getting it all spick and span, ready for the new seals, which I haven't found in my warehouse yet. I know they're in there, but I can't find them. So that's what I'm going to get on with today. So first thing I've got to do is to remove all the old silicone that is on here. I've obviously removed the rubbers, but it's left some fairly sticky old black silicone. So just with a normal blade, knife, score it across the alloy. It's not visual, so it doesn't matter. And then that hopefully will just peel off, which it does. So once I've got that all off, we should end up with that alloy edge and obviously that. Now overall, this window, I have to say, with the odd bit of oxidization which has occurred just on this top lip, this should all buff up, or sand should I say, very nicely. And more importantly, the exterior, which is actually, sorry, this is the interior. This still has got a really nice top finish, so that's not going to take much in the way of bringing back to a respectable level. What will need a bit of work, not over much to be honest, is this exterior.
Just a bit of pitting.
Well, yeah, there's a bit of a dint there and what have you. There is 3 drainage holes. One at the top end there, 2 in the middle, and for some reason there isn't one at that end. I've no reason, I don't understand why, but I might even add one to it, because from the inside it is obviously designed to, in fact I can now tell. Yes, I can tell why. I now know why there's no seal, because there's a grommet, or there's like a stopper there, and I think that's probably moved. I think that's been shunted that way. Obviously the water would get trapped there and it can't go anywhere, which makes me want to put a drill hole there. I might drill a hole there. I might have made my own decision on that, because that would fill up, it won't be able to escape that way, therefore I think that needs a hole there, so I might do that. Anyway, I'm going to get on with some work, and you don't want to see me clean. See you later. Okay, so we're at the stages of near enough completing the windows, but I've left one just to show you how bad these windows were in relation to condition. I mean, the seals, as you know, I'm leaving in because I think they're okay, but that is the state of what I'm dealing with, and I believe me, they have taken a long time to get to the stages of where I'm going to show you now. So we'll just put that one to one side a minute without breaking it. In fact, I'll put it there. So now we've got to the stage of masking up. I've wire-wooled, I've sanded down with very fine grit paper, and all the areas that are needed to be ultra clean are now clean, nice and flat. The reason why we're going down the route of masking up is because I've made a decision on spraying them, and the reason for that I will show you on the larger windows, because half of the windows were anodized and half of the windows had lost their anodization, and it just showed natural aluminium, the bare aluminium, and the colour combination, it just didn't look right. And I want, if I'm going to this trouble of doing this boat to what I hope is a good standard, I might as well continue that with the windows. So a little bit more effort has gone into it, hence the reason why this episode is a little bit on the late side. But I think after we've got it all done, you'll agree that it's okay. It looks good. So I've just got this last area to mask up, and I'm just going to show you how I did this because it is useful to know. I bought a cheap roll of lining paper from my local DIY store in this country, B&Q. That's what I used. It's fairly thin, it's 800 gram, it's quite, but it's, you know, it's stiff enough for what I need to do. So I've just got one more side to use this on, but I've just got a little bit of the masking tape, as you can see. How I do it, I used to do this in my, when I used to restore the odd car or two, is I basically put the masking tape over the alloy and then onto the paper, and there's a little, where the rubber meets the alloy, you can stick your fingernail just down the groove and it creates a line for you, as I'm hoping the camera might pick up, like so. I've just placed my fingernail down. I don't know whether the shadow can catch that, Jay.
Yes, I can.
Good, okay, so basically if you just create the groove, it gives you a natural line to put your blade through it. Now use a sharp blade to do it. You don't need to push on too hard, and I always tend to go. I tend to angle the blade towards the alloy, and the reason for that is it leaves just sufficient of the tape for you then to finish off with your nail and just tuck it around the edge, as this one is round here. So basically I'll just go with the blade and I tend to push against the alloy. Like so. And then as I pull that off, and then force that edge around like so. So then there's a gap between the rubber and the alloy. So when what this basically does, it enables me to spray this, and then I can leave this there, and then obviously when it's dried, if this was touching and I pulled it off, there's a good chance that it could break some of the paint off. So with this being done the way I've done it, I'm confident enough to be able to pull this off when everything's done, and that includes the undercoat, the top coat, and I might even use some lacquer just to top it off. So that's what I've done. I've done that with the other two windows, which I'll show you after I've finished doing what I need to do. As you can see there, I've just got this side to line now. This is easier to do because I'm going to tuck the masking tape in the groove. I'm not going to spray inside there, it's not necessary. So I'm just going to mask that up. Basically what I do, take the piece of lining paper, just go beyond, like so. Place it the other way around so then it doesn't curl on you, it curls down rather than up. And start to mould the paper around. So then it creates a sort of a pattern. Once you've got it sort of half into it, doesn't have to be clinical, just use a pencil. Just take the just to show you where you need to cut. Okay, so pair of scissors. So what I do, rather than cutting on the line that I've just created, I cut in because I want it to be a little bit short, because obviously the tape is about 10mm wide and I've got 10mm to play with. So I always like to cut it short because I don't want it just drifting up onto the areas where I want the masking tape to do the work. So I tend to just cut slightly shy of it. It's not an exact science, all we're doing is masking off the glass. It's ironic that we've chosen the worst possible day to attempt to spray. Because we've had a huge dip in temperature. We were in double figures quite comfortably all week, and we thought, right, let's see if we can get some spray on, and it says the minimum we're able to spray is about 10, and I think we're on about 7. So you know, we need to get this episode online as soon as possible, so we're going to risk it and we're going to see how we go on. So there you go, you can see that it's short, all the way around, which is exactly what we want. And then I'll simply then mask up take a few sections at a time, don't have to be in one. Just shuffle the tape because it grabs the paper, shuffle the tape so it doesn't touch, and then simply mask off. So that's taken the masking right as far as it needs to be. I'll take them off because it seems to be grabbing.
No. Can you work from the other side?
Sort of, yeah. So, slide it, zigzag it along until you've got it in the right place. Like so. Out there. Keep it moving until you're out. And basically you're just feeding this all the way along. I'll have a slightly longer one, this one. So, push that in. This tape, I've probably already mentioned this tape, this blue tape. It's a heck of a lot better than the beige one. It is far more expensive, but to be honest, it doesn't. I found with the beige tape, when you pull it off, it tends to rip and it does all sorts of stuff, and it tends to come off what you wanted to use it for. So, to be honest, there's no substitute for a decent masking tape, especially when you're doing jobs like this. So there we go. So that one is now complete. You can see how far it's gone in. I'm not overly interested in overspray going down there because it's not really going to be seen. So all I need to do with this piece now is to degrease it and get it ready for primer. So what I'll do is I'll just put this one down and I'll show you the larger of the windows. Move these to one side. The reason for me showing you this is the reason why we're spraying them rather than leaving them as they are. That is the internal side of the window, and this is anodised, and as you can see it's in pretty good condition. But because it's anodised, you've got a nice uniform colour, and because it's not seen weather, you can see that it's been well looked after. Look on the other side, which is the side that I've sanded quite a lot. And you can see that half, I don't know where it picks it up, you can tell by the way it's jointed there and there and there and there. The lower section has obviously had not as much weather at it, and the top sections has. So obviously I've sanded this down and we're on to raw aluminium, and this part is anodised still. So you've got a contrast of shadow effects and various things going on, and so I thought it would be better if I sprayed the entire thing and had all of them all in looking the same. So that's the purpose of why we're going down this route. And as you can see, I've mashed the way I showed you on the small one all the way around, so everything is nicely tucked away. It's a clean environment to work to. So I think we're next on the stage of degreasing and spraying. So we'll get them ready for that. Right, okay. I had an idea. I remember I bought a heat gun So my theory is, might work because it's smoking away, is to warm the aluminium up without going too warm and obviously destroying the glass, etc. So it's worth a shot. If we just take the temperature from being extremely cold it does actually seem to be working quite nicely. Right. That actually is really good. I think that might work. Right, okay. I've obviously gone and touched it with my hands, which wasn't a wise trick because I'm about to spray it. What I have done with the primer is I've put the primer in some water, some warm water, to boost the pressure of the can and also to increase the temperature of the paint as well, because we are actually painting in adverse conditions, and I think it can only help with the adhesion. So I'll just crack on because I want to get this on. So I'm using Rust-Oleum. Rust-Oleum I have researched on YouTube, and people that have been spraying aluminium or any type of metal, they recommend this particular product. So I am going with the flow. Okay, always with your first coat is to put what I used to call, or my dad used to call, put a dry coat on first. So it's obviously not too close, not overloading, just a nice film, and it's basically dry when it hits the surface. So basically just clouding the surface of the metal, just basically introducing the paint to the surface. It'll also give you an idea of whether it's going to react straight away, because you will be able to see instantly. I should be wearing a mask because my mask is somewhere. I just realised. Do you want to pause it, John, while I go and get my mask?
Will do.
Okay, so I've got a mask. It's not the ideal mask. I need to invest in one with ventilation protection. This really isn't suitable, but I shall go and get one today. But in the meantime, we'll just get this coat on. So I mean, you can film anytime you want while I'm doing this. So we're on with the larger one, as you obviously can see. I cleaned it off. The adhesion on the smaller one, excellent. So by heating it up just that little bit, and also heating the can up and increasing the pressure and the temperature of the paint, may have helped. Okay, that's gone. Test. Right, so dry coat again. So we check for reactions now. See if there's anything particular on this metal that's not agreeing with the paint. Now's the time to check it before you go any further, because if it does react, of course you can take what little there is on there off again. And everything seems to be okay at this stage. And you can basically see that it's virtually, there's hardly any wet at all on there. It seems to be quite dry as it goes on because I had it quite a distance away. I might just need to close that just a tad because I noticed that the fan was not actually going on, if that's all right with you. Just a little bit, that might be fine.
So what is the drying time of this primer?
The drying time of this primer is 20 minutes before you can overlay again. Now, with the first piece that I did, I think there's sufficient on there in order for us to continue with the next stage, so I won't be putting a second coat on that. And I shall see how this goes, but I did lay it on quite thick and it seems to have...
You always do.
Yeah. Right, on with the next bit. Okay, I probably will give it a second coat, but I'm going to leave that for a second, and we'll just. I just want to do these lips here, but it's quite glossy on the tops, and what I don't want it to, have too much paint, because if the alloy is slightly concaved, then it's a little bit on the thick side. Okay, so we just had to quickly come indoors because it was raining outside.
Bucketing down.
Yeah, absolutely bucketing down, and we might have just escaped a few droplets trying to land on the work that I've just done. But as you can see, It's adhering quite well. I'm very happy with the texture and how smooth it is. Obviously we've now got the colour all nice and uniformed, and with a second coat I shall leave it for 24 hours, no I won't. I will leave it for about a couple of hours. I will then return and I will flip them over. Obviously John will be disappearing. You don't need to see the second phase of me spraying because you're seeing it what I'm going to be doing now. And then I shall have by tomorrow all this primered and ready for top coat, which you will get to see me putting it on. So that's the stage we're at, and I shall see you later. Good morning everybody and welcome back. It is a Friday cold chilly morning. The primer has stayed put, there's been no blistering, everything is nice and smooth and ready for some top coat. I'm going to be using, just bear with me a tick. I'm going to be using some Rust-Oleum and the colour is satin nickel, and that is as close to aluminium as I can get it because I want the colour to be as close to what it was originally but nicely uniformed. So that is what I'm going to be putting on this morning. So I'm going to do what I did before because the primer seemed to work well with what I did. So I'm going to put this in a bucket of warm water to pump the pressure up and to warm the paint up, and I'm going to use my heat gun and warm each individual piece as I go along, just so that it has a well, it increases the temperature. This is my theory. It increases the temperature beyond the 10 that ideally this paint and the primer wanted to be sprayed at. So it seems to have worked. It's not peeling. I can sort of scratch the surface and it doesn't come off, so I know it's adhered well. So that's the policy I'm going to do. So bear with me. We'll get this heated up. We'll get the heat gun on these and we'll start spraying some aluminium looking paint. So let's get cracking. Oh, I'm in charge of the camera, so you'll see me toing and froing because Johnny's away. So bear with me. Okay, so I know you can't see me, but you can definitely hear me. So what I'm going to do now, the can of paint is warmed up. As you can see, that is the one I'm using. So I'm just going to heat up the actual frame, just to take the temperature away from being an overnight really cold. Just for some reason just takes it just takes the chill off the alloy. Okay, mask on. So as before, usual script, give it a dusting, check to see if there's any reaction. If there's no reaction, give it a couple of minutes and then go in with your full coats. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. Okay, so we've given it a dusting. I'll help that tack off a bit. You'll notice I'm not putting the gun as close this time because I don't want to cause any burns or anything like that. I just want the wetness to evaporate, really. Okay, so we check it over, see if there's any reaction. Can't see any. So we can go in with a full coat now. Wow. Mightily impressed with that. It's quite a nice colour. I don't know whether I can get in closer for you. Maybe I can. My apologies for the camera work. Maybe I can show it after after I've done the rest. But it's quite a metallic, as you can see. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, prior to me painting, by the way, I did clean the surfaces, obviously, because we don't want any contaminants and dust, etc. going on in overnight, so I have cleaned them off. So, same procedure, I will heat them up and then we'll just come back to my spraying once I'm ready. So I'll just put it on pause for a second. Okay, so I've given this a light dusting. So this is now ready for a full coat. So mask on again. And off we go. Okay, so while that is just starting to set, I shall move on to this one now, and we'll get a dry dusting onto this one. Okay, so we're on the final one. I've given it a light dusting, everything's okay. I've also reheated the can, so I've got maximum pressure, and of course the paint isn't cold, so it should go on nice and evenly. So mask on, and put the coat on. Just checking to make sure that I've covered everything nice and evenly. Because it's not very easy in this light. That looks pretty good to me. Got a nice even coat. So basically what will happen after this is we'll let this go off. I think I'm just debating whether to give it another coat. I think I will, because I'm going to lacquer these after, so that's the bit that will give me the shine. So I think what I'll do is I'll go back to the first one and I will recoat that, and then go to this one, and then go to this one, and then I'll show you the finished first half, because obviously tomorrow I'll need to flip them over and redo the whole process again on the other side. So I'll turn it off for now, and then you can see it after I finish the this whole side. Okay, so we've done the final coats of the metallic, and the object obviously was to get the metallic as evenly as possible without creating shadow lines and patches where you've got metallic in, more metallic in one area than the other, because like I say, I'm going to lacquer over the top of these, so that's the part that'll give it the depth of shine. So we'll just have a quick look at the overall finish. My apologies for the camera work, because it's not John that's doing it, but I hope this gives you an idea of what actually satin nickel looks like. It's got quite a nice metallic look to it actually, it's quite nice. There we go, it's focused. Across to these larger ones without touching them. So hopefully that has picked up the metallic. You can see the metallic there. Okay, so there we have it. for now anyway. So tomorrow I'll flip them over and I shall repeat the process, and then hopefully we'll get some lacquer on, and then we'll call this episode a wrap. So until then, I shall see you later. Morning everybody, and welcome back on a fine, warm for once, morning. So, final job is to lacquer these. So I've given them all a good clean, everything looks good, and I think we're in for a really good finish on this one. So I've put them outside. I'm hoping that there's not many insects about, to be honest, because it is quite cold. The wind is fairly minimal, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to spray these with some success without any midges or any insects landing on it. So I shall get cracking. I've got two on the side here that are still in the undercoat stage, so those two won't be done today, but hopefully one side of these will be complete, and so will this episode. So I shall get on with it. I'm going to have to move the camera, obviously, so you can see what I can do, see what I'm doing, so we'll get cracking. Okay, so here we go. I've given it another light dusting, just to make sure that there's no reaction in any way. I'm just giving this can a quick mix again. But I think I'll start with this one because it's the most awkward one to get to. Okay, so I don't know whether the camera can pick up on the way it looks. Let's just take this camera off here and take a closer look. There we go. So I think for the first coat, I think that's pretty good. We'll put you on pause and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I don't think I can do any more work on these. I don't want to put any more coats on. I've given it a second coat of lacquer and I'm going to leave these be. It's a Saturday, so I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be back here on Monday. This will give this time to cure. And then we'll obviously unwrap them and we won't. We'll flick them over and we'll do exactly the same on the other side. Of course, we've still got two more to put some metallic and then of course the lacquer on top of that. But you've seen the majority of what's gone on with these windows. Have they been easy to do? Certainly not, no. I mean, the amount of old sticker flecks and silicone that were on these is taken an absolute age to get off. But you know, I've put the time and effort and I've taken my time. I haven't been able to get a vlog out in the previous week because these have taken so long to do, and to be honest it's too boring to watch me scrub these. I've been taking them home at night and cleaning them at home as well. So anyway, that's the end of the episode. I hope it's been informative. Thank you so much to the new subscribers. There's been an influx of people that have climbed on board. Thank you very much for coming on board. I hope you find some of these videos interesting for you. And thank you. So please like, please subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in the next episode. But before I go, I've got a family down in London that have just had a little baby, Eliza, Sue, Az, and little Isaac, and I'm so happy for them. So well done guys, and I hope to see you in the very near future. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next trip. Bye for now.